this might be the last chance people have to see...
On the claim.
Good Morning Britain is back tomorrow from 6. Now it's time to join Lorraine. And meanwhile, we're hearing about another emergency package of subsidy for business, which is going to be announced at 9 o'clock this morning, which will be an enormous relief, of course, for business. Details out, please. And scammers, have a word with yourselves. Thank you both for cost of living questions answered in more detail. Are you confused about your energy bills? Perhaps you have loans that are worrying you. 1 in 5 UK adults behind on one or more household bill. So if you have worries about loans, if you've got concerns about interest rates rising, do get in touch with us, Twitter, Facebook, email. Martin will answer some of your questions after the break.
Yes, sorry. If I translate for you, because I think it might be a bit complicated, is if I've got a prepayment, that's the nub of this question. So first, let me rule out where this definitely won't work. This won't work for gas meters.
OK.
This won't work for the standing charge for electricity is 46.4p a day. The unit rate is 34p per kilowatt hour. Rewind this back and watch it again later if I'm recording it. Under gas, it's 28.5p a day, and the unit rate is 10.3p per kilowatt hour. If your unit rates on your fix were lower, go back to the fix. If they were the same or higher, stick where you are. As you fixed in August, my guess...
When you say stick where you are...
stick on the variable rate.
Exactly, yeah.
With the price guarantee rate. My guess, if you fix in August, is your rates would be higher than that. So if you can't find the details and you're willing to go with my guess, no promises, I would guess you may as well stick on the variable rate. That would be my guess in August.
Yes.
If you said it was January, I'd probably be saying go back to your fix.
Yes. Wow. OK. Thank you so much.
I have no idea where we're going now. My head's in money saving.
No, I understand. And of course, actually, do you know what? I think a lot of people feel like that. There is so much information. There's a lot of stuff we need to process. There's probably some stuff we need to protest as well. Andrew has asked a very simple question, which is when should we hear from our energy companies, as I've heard nothing about my new prices from British Gas? I
am not normally one to defend the energy firms.
Right.
But as you can hear, for example, we have been fighting to get the prepayment and payment in receipt. The government announced the big picture policy, but it didn't do the fine print. The contracts weren't signed, and that's been happening. And then, of course, only just getting the final information now. I suspect you'll be contacted in the next week or two. But I'm not going to berate them for it because they've been fighting for information just as I have. And when you say contacted, just established, they will communicate presumably by letter? They will not be asking for action. These will be information, non-transactional things that are coming to you. Later on, if you're on a fix and it's a particularly expensive fix, they may be offering you to be able to switch. And what you always do in these circumstances, never, if different phone, just in case of jamming the line, if you get an email, go direct to the website. Go make your own journey to them. Try not to have them journey to you. You make a journey to them, an independent journey, and then you know you're dealing with the right people as opposed to someone pretending to be someone else. What about meter readings? If you did a meter reading on the 9th of October, if you'd done it on the 1st of October, you could submit it on the 9th and you can backdate it. Okay. And one of the reasons I'm saying don't try and squeeze them on the 1st of October, it's a day of big change. Many vulnerable people will need to speak to them. If everybody gets on the phone and uses their website on the day and it crashes, those vulnerable people may actually not be able to get in touch. So if you're just doing your meter reading, there's no panic. A few days before, a few days after, not an issue. And just feed your meter reading in online if you possibly can. It doesn't have to be on the 1st of October itself. Keep your questions coming in. Thank you, Martin. Still to come, Robbie Williams is back for good. Business contracts signed after the 1st of April this year, with the discount starting on the 1st of October. Even if the plan is not in place by the 1st of October, they're saying they will backdate it to the 1st of October. That would be an enormous relief. Yeah, our political correspondent Louisa James is in Westminster. MPs... That's our main news this morning. Martin, of course, answering your cost of living questions throughout the programme. Get in touch, Twitter and Facebook.
Now, though, here's Charlotte with the rest of the day's news and an update on that address by President Putin.
The victims, this is what he's telling his people, we are the victims, there are aggressors, and we will do what we can to defend you. Nothing is off the table, and, you know, he's saying nothing is off the table, including nuclear weapons. It seems like certainly a speech to up the ante of what's going on. It is a dreadful thought.
It's 19 minutes past 7. We have more of your money questions being answered. Now, though, let's get the news, travel and weather where you are. See you in a moment.
Still to come, as new figures show nearly 11 million people have already fallen behind with their household bills. We speak to the man who is tasked with worrying about what happens to consumers and how to protect them. Next.
Yes, that is Sheldon Mills of the Financial Conduct Authority.
He is indeed.
Yeah,
Someone I have spoken to many times in public and in private.
That is a conversation you're not going to want to miss. Plus, your cost of living questions answered. Whatever questions you have about your bills or meter reading day on October the 1st, stay with us. Martin's going to talk through what can be done to help. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV. At the desk, yeah, Martin.
Look, let us be straight about mortgages. Interest rates.
Sheldon Mills, thank you very much
Thank you very much for having me.
For your company this morning. Really appreciate that. Right, 7:38. We have your questions for Martin coming up. Now, though, we're just going to have a look at the weather with Laura.
Tell you, it's interesting when you interview someone from a regulator, because when you talk to them as I do, they have to be very controlled and careful what they say because it's a regulated industry. The key to that interview is to read between the lines. Subtle disdain from a regulator is a slap in the face. That's worth remembering.
Although Sheldon Mills would never
Never
admit to that.
Never.
Still to come, Richard has all the entertainment news.
Someone who's never knowingly...
Now, it was this time yesterday that we saw the first part, Richard, of your interview with chance to win £120,000. Here's Andy.
Of energy bills this winter.
Yes, it is thought that under the new plans announced at 9 o'clock, businesses could see their energy costs discounted by at least a third on current market prices. Katie Rickett has just said in his address. And Martin, of course, answering more of your energy questions. First, though, here's Charlotte with the rest of the day's news, including what?
And weather where you are.
See you in a moment. Right, lots of questions, of course, for Martin this morning about energy bills. But first question I'm going to put to you, Martin, is about tax cuts, because the front of the Times this morning, and we are reporting that the Prime Minister is going to, on Friday, and buying a property. They might be about to exchange, they might be about to complete, and they might be thinking, well, if I'm going to get a cut on Friday, does it come in on Friday?
It could, but it doesn't have to. Transaction date, which is generally, but not always, talk to your solicitor first to see what the impact would be. But if it does drop on Friday, there's a lot of ifs and buts.
Yes. Right, let's get away from ifs and buts and try and get some firm answers.
Always best to move away from buts.
Right, Samantha says, how does the price cap affect those on Economy 7 tariffs?
Very good question.
Just to put a bit more detail on this, she says she fixed about 3 months ago to take away the uncertainty of new rises, but the day rate is almost 50 pence per kilowatt.
OK, so it's a fixed Economy 7 tariff. That really, we got two... Use that same reduction on a fix, but it will be averaged...
Gerard on Twitter wants to know, will our bills drop with a drop in gas prices?
I've seen a lot of this on social media. People keep saying it's irrelevant. It's the year-ahead wholesale rates, because the regulator, in going up 80%, that was locked in. The January price cap was still being assessed. So had we still been on that January price cap, it probably now would have not risen as much as we expect.
Stoneleigh mortgage.
Yep.
In the past few months, her mortgage has increased by £200 a month. Do you think the interest rates will rise again? Is there any hope for Patricia and others that they will drop?
5%. It's likely to be going up to 2.2. Many economists would argue that would push up inflation.
The demand.
We don't appear to have inflated demand. We appear to have inflated supply.
And rising interest rates are about cooling demand.
So we have a very...
Prepayment key before the 30th of September, allowing room to put £10 on after the 1st of October to make sure I get sent the grant. Will putting the £10 on change the whole tariff of what I've already put on the key, or shall I just not bother topping the key right up?
So this is very important for anyone who's on a prepayment meter.
Martin, thank you so much. Martin, thank you so much.